Imagine waking up as a 40-year-old goalkeeper. You have no club, no contract, and a transfer value of zero. In front of you stands a $200 and $500 million Spanish attack at the World Cup. The entire world is expecting a slaughter, but just 5 days later, this exact man did the impossible. He broke a global record, engaging over 14 million followers faster than almost any athlete in human history. He became the face of the 2026 World Cup. But while the internet celebrated his viral fame, nobody knew the dark heartbreak hiding behind his tears. This is the untold tragic journey of Josimar Diaz, the man they call vozinha. Long before he was denying the world's best players, Josimar was just a boy growing up on a tiny island off the coast of West Africa. His childhood wasn't filled with academies or luxury. His father was completely absent, serving in the military, and his mother had to work endlessly just to buy food. Josimar was raised entirely by his grandparents. He spent his days playing street football against boys who were twice his size. His grandparents gave him the nickname vozinha, meaning little grandma in Creole, because he was always stuck to them. He didn't even turn professional until he was 25 years old, an age where modern superstars like Mbappé have already won World Cups. He was an absolute nobody in the global football landscape. This is where the dark side of football comes in. The media loves a fairy tale, but they ignore the brutal reality of a journeyman footballer. For 15 years, vozinha fought in the absolute shadows of the sport. He moved from Cape Verde to Angola, from Moldova to Cyprus and Slovakia. He played in stadium environments where players weren't paid for months. He was treated like cheap labor, never commanding a single transfer fee in his entire career. And then came the ultimate insult. Just weeks before the 2026 World Cup, the biggest tournament of his life, his Portuguese second division club, D. Chaves, decided he was too old. They terminated his contract. Think about that. He arrived at the World Cup completely unemployed. A 40-year-old man clubless with a market value of just 50,000 euros. He knew that if he made one mistake against Spain, his career was dead forever. June 15, 2015-26. Atlanta, Georgia, Cape Verde's World Cup debut. Spain attacked like a relentless tidal wave, 27 shots on target, but standing in their way was a 40-year-old wall. vozinha made 7 world-class, physics-defying saves. He single-handedly frustrated Spain's multi-millionaire elite. Millions of viewers watching the broadcast were mesmerized. During halftime, Brazil's biggest internet personality, Casemiro from Casatev, looked at vozinha's tiny Instagram page and told his 31 million subscribers the internet exploded. His phone quite literally melted in the dressing room. He went from 50,000 followers to over 14 million in just 5 days, outgrowing NBA and NFL megastars overnight. An absolute record. When the final whistle blew, cementing a historic 0-0 draw, vozinha dropped to his knees and wept uncontrollably. The commentators thought they were tears of pure joy. They were wrong. While 14 million strangers were flooding his profile with likes, the only people vozinha wanted to see him were gone. His beloved grandparents, the ones who raised him and gave him his name, had passed away years prior. They never got to see him stand on a World Cup pitch. But the darkest pain was what happened to his mother. She wasn't in the stadium either. Because of a strict, highly controversial immigration policy, citizens of Cape Verde were forced to pay a massive, upfront $15,000 returnable bond just to get a travel visa to the United States. Vozinha, an unemployed second-division journeyman, could not afford it in time. The cruel irony of modern football, he was generating millions of dollars for FIFA, gaining 14 million followers across the globe, but he didn't have enough money to put his own mother in the stands to watch the greatest moment of his life. Voiceover, deep emotional tone. I cried because my grandparents are dead, and my mom could not be here because we didn't have the money for the visa in time. vozinha's story reminds us that behind the viral metrics, the flashy social media records, and the numbers on a screen, there are real human souls fighting absolute demons. At 40 years old, he proved that it is never too late to change your destiny. He went to Atlanta clubless and left as an immortal legend. If this story touched you, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments, is vozinha the most inspiring player of the 2026 World Cup?